shape you. Growth never happens inside comfort. This is how to set goals that stretch you, a guide for people who are ready to stop playing small and start building a life that truly excites them. This isn't about motivation that fades in a week. It's about designing goals that challenge your limits, strengthen your focus, and reveal what you're truly capable of. You'll learn how to stop lowering your standards and start raising your effort. By the time this ends, you won't just set goals, you'll start living like the person who achieves them, because the only thing standing between you and your next level is the size of your goals. Chapter 1. Define goals that scare you and excite your spirit. When you sit quietly and think about your life, there comes a moment when you feel that small pull inside you, the one that whispers, "There's more to you than this." That voice is not wrong. It's the sound of your potential asking for a chance to be lived. Most people silence that voice because it's uncomfortable. It asks for more than they've given before. It asks them to grow. But if you want a life that truly fulfills you, you have to define goals that scare you and excite your spirit at the same time. A goal that stretches you is not a punishment. It's a call to rise. When you pick a goal that scares you a little, that's a good sign. It means you've stepped beyond what you already know how to do. The problem with most people is not that they aim too high and miss, it's that they aim too low and hit. They design goals small enough to guarantee comfort, not change. But comfort never built character, and it never built a dream. Growth begins where certainty ends. Think of the last time you felt proud of yourself, really proud. It wasn't when you did something easy. It was when you pushed through fear, when you faced something that made you doubt yourself, but you kept going anyway. That's the feeling we're chasing when we talk about goals that scare you. That mix of fear and excitement is the sign that your spirit is awake again. It's telling you, this matters. The first step is honesty. You have to be brutally honest about what you want, not what looks good on paper, not what others expect, but what sets your heart on fire. Too many people live under goals that don't belong to them. They chase approval instead of purpose. You cannot build a life that excites you if the goals you set belong to someone else's dream. Take time to ask yourself, what do I really want? What would I go after if I knew I couldn't fail? What would make me proud to wake up every morning and work for it? Once you start asking those questions, you'll notice fear creeping in. That's not a sign to back off. That's your signal that you're touching something real. Fear often shows up when your spirit recognizes growth. The mind tries to protect you from discomfort, but your soul wants expansion. That tension between the two is where transformation begins. The goal is not to eliminate fear, it's to learn how to act in spite of it. A goal that excites you should also feel a little impossible, not unrealistic, but beyond what you've done before. Maybe it's starting a business when you've always been an employee. Maybe it's running a marathon when you've never trained. Maybe it's writing a book when you've only written social media posts. Whatever it is, it should demand new levels of discipline, focus, and courage. It should make you dig deeper. That's where confidence grows, not from success alone, but from the process of becoming capable of success. When you define a goal that stretches you, you must also define why it matters. If your reason isn't strong, the hard days will stop you. Every big goal will test you. It will ask for patience, persistence, and faith. Without a deep why, you'll quit the first time progress slows down. Your why gives meaning to the struggle. It keeps you moving when excitement fades. So, write down your reason. See it every day. Remind yourself that the pain of growth is always smaller than the pain of regret. Now, when you write down your goal, don't write it as a wish. Write it as a decision. Wishes wait for luck. Decisions create movement. Decide what you want. Decide what kind of person achieves it. Then, begin to act like that person now. You don't wait until you hit the goal to live differently. You start before. You carry the mindset of the person who already reached it. That's how you close the gap between who you are and who you want to be. It's important to understand that setting a big goal doesn't mean you ignore reality. It means you expand it. You measure where you are, and then design a path that forces you to grow. A big goal isn't accomplished overnight. It's broken into daily disciplines. You show up every day and give your best. You fail, you adjust, you keep going. Over time, the impossible starts to look possible, and one day, it becomes normal. That's the quiet magic of persistence. The biggest obstacle most people face isn't lack of skill, it's lack of belief. When you set a stretch goal, the first battle happens in your mind. Doubt will whisper, "You're not ready. You don't have what it takes." But belief is built by evidence. Every time you take a small step, you create proof that you're capable. You don't need instant success. You need consistent proof. Confidence is earned, not given. You build it by showing up for yourself, again and again. You might think it's selfish to aim for something big. It's not. The moment you stretch yourself, you give permission to others to do the same. People around you start to notice the change. They see the discipline, the energy, the focus. They begin to ask questions. You become an example. Real growth is contagious. When one person decides to rise, others are inspired to follow. There's a quiet moment that happens when you finally define a goal that truly stretches you. It's not about applause or recognition. It's the peace that comes from knowing you're moving in the right direction. You stop comparing yourself to others because your only competition is who you were yesterday. You start sleeping better because you're living aligned with your purpose. You stop waiting for perfect timing because you understand that growth only happens through motion. You also have to accept that not everyone will understand your goals. Some will tell you it's too much, too risky, too unrealistic. But remember this, their limits are not your limits. Most people judge your dreams through the lens of their own fear. Protect your belief. You don't owe anyone an explanation for wanting more out of life. You just owe yourself the effort to pursue it. When fear shows up, and it will, don't fight it. Acknowledge it. Fear means you're in motion. It means you're in territory where learning happens. Feel the fear, and then move anyway. Action is the antidote to doubt. The more you act, the quieter fear becomes. You'll never eliminate it completely, but you'll learn how to carry it with you without letting it drive. Sometimes the biggest stretch isn't physical or financial, it's emotional. It's learning to trust yourself after failure. It's believing you're worthy of success. It's forgiving yourself for the years you wasted playing small. Growth starts in the mind before it shows in your results. You can't have a big goal with a small mindset. The moment you believe you're capable of more, your actions begin to change naturally. You will have days when you don't feel like showing up, days when progress feels invisible. That's where most people quit. But the secret is this: consistency beats intensity. You don't need to move mountains every day. You just need to move forward. Small steps compound. Over time, they become unstoppable momentum. That's how you turn a dream into a reality, one honest step at a time. And here's something to remember. Your goal will not only change your results, it will change you. That's the real reward. The purpose of a stretch goal is not just achievement, it's transformation. The person you become while chasing it is more valuable than the prize itself. You develop patience, discipline, focus, confidence. You learn how to lead yourself. And once you know how to lead yourself, you can lead anyone. So how do you know if your goal is big enough? Ask yourself this. Does it make you a little nervous? Does it wake you up at night thinking about possibilities? Does it challenge you to learn new things? If the answer is yes, you're on the right track. A good goal should create tension between who you are and who you could be. That's the stretch. That's where growth lives. When you look at your goal every morning, it should remind you that you're capable of more than your circumstances suggest. It should remind you that you're not stuck. It should give you energy. That energy is not magic, it's focus. When you commit your mind and heart to something meaningful, you start seeing opportunities that were invisible before. That's not luck, that's awareness. Your mind begins to align with your mission. If you want a better life, you have to decide that average is not enough. You weren't designed to just survive. You were designed to progress. Every person has untapped potential, waiting to be awakened by a goal that matters. But potential means nothing without decision. So decide to raise your standards. Decide to stretch. Decide that this year you'll pursue something that both scares and excites you, because when fear and excitement meet, that's where life gets real. You'll fail sometimes. You'll get frustrated. You'll question your plan. But remember, failure is just feedback. It tells you what needs work. It's not a signal to stop. It's information to adjust. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than most people have tried. The difference is, they didn't see failure as final. They saw it as part of the path. And that mindset is what keeps you growing. As you go after your goal, don't forget to pause and acknowledge progress. Every small victory deserves recognition. It keeps your spirit alive. Gratitude is fuel. When you appreciate how far you've come, you build faith for how far you can go. And faith is the foundation of all achievement. When you finally reach that goal, and you will, it won't be the end. It will be the start of a new version of you. You'll see new possibilities. You'll set new goals. You'll look back and realize that the fear that once felt paralyzing was actually the doorway to your strength. You'll understand that every challenge was shaping you for this moment. That's the beauty of setting goals that stretch you. They make you grow in ways you can't see at first. They pull out discipline you didn't know you had. They show you your true capacity. And once you experience that kind of growth, you'll never want to go back to small, safe goals again. You'll crave that stretch, that feeling of becoming more. So today, define a goal that scares you and excites your spirit. Write it down. Commit to it. See it as a promise to your future self. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. You just need to begin. Because once you start, you'll realize that you were capable all along. Growth doesn't come from knowing, it comes from doing. And the moment you do, everything changes. Chapter 2. Choose growth over comfort and demand more from yourself. There's a moment in everyone's life when they face a choice. It's not loud or dramatic, but it changes everything. It's the moment you decide whether to stay comfortable or to grow. Most people choose comfort. They tell themselves they'll grow later, when it's easier, when they have more time, when the fear feels smaller. But that day rarely comes. Growth doesn't wait for permission. It shows up as challenge, and challenge never feels comfortable. The truth is, comfort feels good in the short term, but costs you your potential in the long term. Growth feels hard in the beginning, but rewards you for the rest of your life. When you choose growth over comfort, you stop negotiating with your limits. You stop letting the easy option win. You start demanding more from yourself, not out of guilt or pressure, but out of belief that you're capable of more. Growth is a decision to show up differently when it would be easier not to. It's waking up early when your mind says sleep. It's having the hard conversation when silence feels safer. It's facing your flaws instead of hiding behind excuses. Comfort whispers that you're fine as you are. Growth reminds you that you were meant to evolve. Every person has a comfort zone, and it looks different for everyone. For some, it's a steady job they don't love but tolerate. For others, It's avoiding relationships because vulnerability feels risky. For many, it's the routine of doing just enough to get by. Comfort zones aren't bad. They keep you safe, but they also keep you small. They're invisible walls built from fear, doubt, and habit. The moment you step beyond them, you meet a part of yourself you've never known. That's why growth feels uncomfortable. You're walking into a version of yourself that hasn't been built yet. The first step toward growth is awareness. You have to recognize where you're settling. Ask yourself where you've stopped trying. Look at the areas of your life where you've said, "This is good enough." Maybe it's your health, your career, your relationships, or your mindset. Be honest about what you've avoided improving because it felt too hard or too uncertain. Growth begins with that kind of truth. You can't change what you refuse to acknowledge. Once you see it, you can start making different choices. Choosing growth means doing the things you don't feel ready for. You'll rarely feel prepared to take the next step. That's normal. Growth requires movement before confidence. People often wait for the perfect conditions to start, but progress doesn't come from waiting. It comes from acting. Each time you take action in discomfort, you train your mind to adapt. You build resilience. The discomfort that once scared you starts to feel normal. That's how you expand. Confidence isn't something you get before the work. It's something you earn through the work. You have to understand that comfort feeds the ego, but growth feeds the soul. Comfort keeps you where people like you, where no one questions you, where you don't risk failure. Growth pulls you into uncertainty, where you might fall but also where you might rise higher than you've ever imagined. Your ego wants safety, but your spirit craves progress. Every day you have to decide which one you'll serve. If you keep choosing safety, life becomes predictable, but predictability often leads to quiet frustration. If you choose progress, life becomes challenging, but that challenge creates meaning. When you demand more from yourself, you stop expecting life to hand you results. You start taking responsibility. You stop blaming circumstances or other people. You realize that no one is coming to save you. Your success, your health, your happiness, they're all your job. This shift in mindset is where power begins. When you take ownership, you stop feeling like a victim of your life and start becoming its author. Every choice becomes a chance to grow stronger, smarter, and more capable. Growth doesn't always look like big leaps. Sometimes it's the quiet decision to not quit today. Sometimes it's showing up even when you're tired. Sometimes it's saying no to what drains you so you can say yes to what builds you. It's those small decisions, repeated daily, that change everything. People look for transformation in dramatic events, but true growth happens in small, consistent acts of courage. You build yourself one decision at a time. Demanding more from yourself isn't about perfection. It's about honesty. It's saying, "I can do better," not from shame, but from respect for your potential. It's refusing to settle for less than you're capable of. When you hold yourself to a higher standard, you naturally begin to attract better results. Life tends to rise to meet your level of effort. When you give more, you receive more, not always immediately, but inevitably. There's a deep kind of pride that comes from knowing you didn't take the easy route. When you push yourself to grow, you start to respect yourself more. Self-respect doesn't come from comfort, it comes from effort. When you know you've done the hard thing, you walk taller. You speak with more confidence. You stop needing validation from others because you've earned your own. That feeling is priceless, and it's only found outside your comfort zone. Growth will always ask for something from you: time, energy, focus, patience. It will often ask for things you think you don't have. But here's the truth. The things you need most are built in the process of trying. You don't wait to have courage before starting. You find courage while moving forward. You don't wait to feel ready. Readiness is created by doing. Every step you take teaches you something new about yourself. Growth gives you the proof you've been capable all along. Choosing growth also means learning to deal with discomfort without running from it. Most people quit because they mistake discomfort for a signal to stop. But discomfort is not danger, it's development. It's your body and mind adjusting to a new level of demand. Just like muscles grow by being challenged, your character grows the same way. The more you endure discomfort, the more strength you build for the next challenge. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes routine. It's easy to fall back into comfort because it offers quick relief. You tell yourself you'll get back to the hard work later, but later often turns into never. You have to be aware of that temptation. When you feel the urge to pull back, remind yourself why you started. Growth requires you to hold your vision steady when the process feels uncertain. The reward always follows the resistance. There's a difference between resting and quitting. Growth doesn't mean burning yourself out. It means using rest as fuel, not escape. Resting is recovery. Quitting is avoidance. When you rest, you're recharging to come back stronger. When you quit, you're teaching yourself that discomfort wins. The key is to know the difference. Rest to recover, but never stop showing up. If you want to demand more from yourself, you must stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison steals focus. You don't grow by outdoing others. You grow by outgrowing your own patterns. Your only competition is who you were yesterday. Every day you wake up, ask yourself, how can I be a little better than I was before? That simple question builds unstoppable progress. Growth is personal. It's not about impressing anyone. It's about becoming proud of the person staring back in the mirror. One of the greatest shifts you can make is to change your relationship with challenge. Instead of seeing it as a burden, see it as training. Every difficulty is an opportunity to build a new skill or a stronger mindset. When something feels hard, it's not because you're failing, it's because you're learning. You're being prepared for the next level. Growth and comfort can't live in the same space. You have to let go of one to experience the other. You'll know you're growing when things that used to bother you don't anymore. When you stop needing everyone's approval. When you start doing things you once avoided. Growth feels uncomfortable at first, but over time, it feels like freedom. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to make decisions based on vision, not fear. That's when life opens up in ways you never expected. Demanding more from yourself means holding yourself accountable. No one can do that for you. Accountability is not punishment, it's power. When you keep the promises you make to yourself, you build integrity. And integrity is the foundation of success. The more you follow through, the more confidence you build. You start to believe in your own word. You begin to live in alignment with your goals instead of your excuses. There will be people who tell you to slow down or play it safe. They'll project their fear onto you. Remember, you don't need to explain your hunger for growth. Not everyone will understand your journey. Some people are uncomfortable with your progress because it reminds them of what they're not doing. Stay kind, but stay firm. You're not growing to prove anyone wrong, you're growing to prove yourself right. When you live a life based on growth, every day becomes meaningful. Even setbacks have value because you understand they're shaping you. You stop chasing comfort and start chasing purpose. You stop looking for easy days and start looking for honest ones. That's what fulfillment really is, the peace that comes from knowing you're becoming who you were meant to be. There's no shortcut to growth. It's earned through effort, repetition, and reflection. Every decision to push past comfort is a small victory. Over time, those victories compound into transformation. You may not notice the change day by day, but one day you'll wake up and realize you're not the same person you used to be. You'll see the strength, the confidence, the clarity that only come from choosing growth again and again. If you ever doubt yourself, remember this. The person you admire, the one who seems so strong and capable, they weren't born that way. They built it. They faced the same fears, the same uncertainty, the same resistance. The only difference is that they chose growth when it was easier to choose comfort. You can do the same. Every moment gives you another chance to begin again. So, demand more from yourself, not because you have to, but because you can. Because deep down, you know there's more to you than what you're showing the world. Stop waiting for confidence. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop telling yourself you'll start when life feels easier. Life rewards the ones who act, not the ones who wait. Growth won't come to your doorstep. You have to go meet it. One day, you'll look back on this time and be grateful that you didn't settle. You'll see how every uncomfortable choice shaped the person you became. You'll realize that comfort never gave you half the joy that growth did, because growth builds character. Growth builds pride. Growth builds a life you can stand tall in. So today, choose growth over comfort, and never stop demanding more from yourself. That's how you create a life that feels alive.
Chapter 3. Train your focus to chase what feels out of reach. Focus is one of the rarest strengths in the modern world. We live surrounded by noise, messages, notifications, distractions that fight for our attention every second. But growth, real growth, only happens when you learn to direct your attention like a laser. Most people chase too many things at once and end up mastering none. They start something, get excited, lose interest, move on, and wonder why life feels scattered. To reach what feels out of reach, you must train your focus. You must teach your mind to stay with what matters when everything else tries to pull you away. When you have a goal that stretches you, your biggest challenge isn't lack of talent, it's lack of concentration. Your mind wants comfort. It drifts toward the easy tasks that give instant reward instead of the hard ones that lead to real progress. Training focus means learning how to catch your attention when it wanders and bring it back to what counts. It's a mental muscle, and like every muscle, it grows with repetition. Every time you choose to stay on track, you strengthen it. Focus begins with clarity. You can't direct your attention toward something you haven't clearly defined. Write down what you truly want. Not a vague idea, but a clear, specific target. When your vision is blurry, your focus becomes scattered. You waste energy on small things that don't move you forward. But when you know exactly what you're chasing, your decisions become easier. You start to measure everything against that goal. If it doesn't help you move closer, it doesn't deserve your time. Once you know what you're after, you have to protect your attention like it's gold. Because it is. Every time you give your focus to something meaningless, you steal energy from your purpose. Distraction is expensive. It costs progress, confidence, and time. The more you allow yourself to be distracted, the harder it becomes to believe you can finish anything important. That's why discipline and focus are connected. Discipline isn't about punishment, it's about protection. It protects your dream from the pull of everything else. When you start training your focus, you'll realize how easily your thoughts wander. One moment you're working, the next you're scrolling, daydreaming, or worrying. Don't judge yourself for it. Awareness is the first step. Just notice it. Every time you bring your attention back, you're training control. That small act builds mental strength. Over time, you'll notice your ability to stay locked in improving. What once felt impossible to concentrate on for 10 minutes will soon feel natural for an hour. That's progress. Focus thrives in simplicity. You don't need complicated systems or endless routines. You just need to remove noise. If you want to build focus, cut out what weakens it. Turn off notifications, set boundaries with people who drain your energy. Create a space where your mind can breathe. You can't chase something meaningful if you're constantly reacting to the world around you. The world will always try to distract you. You have to decide whether you'll let it. When a goal feels out of reach, your focus becomes your bridge to it. The mind will always find reasons why something can't happen. It will remind you of past failures, limitations, and uncertainty. But the more you train your attention on your goal, the quieter those doubts become. Focus gives power to belief. When you look at the same vision long enough, it starts to feel possible. You begin to act as if it's already real, and that action draws results closer. Training focus also means learning how to handle boredom. Progress isn't always exciting. Sometimes it's repetitive and quiet. Many people give up not because they can't succeed, but because they can't stay focused long enough to see success unfold. You must learn to stay consistent through the ordinary days. That's where most people lose the battle. Greatness doesn't come from bursts of motivation. It comes from steady attention over time. The ability to stay with something long after the excitement fades is what separates achievers from dreamers. Your environment matters more than you think. If your surroundings constantly distract you, your focus will suffer. Design your space to support your intention. Keep it clean, organized, and free from clutter. Surround yourself with reminders of what you're working toward. A simple note, a photo, a goal written on your wall. These small cues help your brain stay connected to your mission. You don't have to force focus when your environment encourages it. You also have to take care of your body if you want your mind to stay sharp. Focus demands energy. Lack of sleep, poor food, or constant stress will weaken it. You can't think clearly when you're drained. Rest is not laziness, it's strategy. Recharge so your attention has strength. Physical health supports mental endurance. The mind works best when the body is respected. Another key to focus is learning to say no. Every yes you give is a trade. When you say yes to distractions, you say no to your dream. When you say yes to pleasing everyone, you say no to yourself. Every goal that's worth chasing will require you to decline good things for great ones. You have to be willing to disappoint others to stay true to your priorities. Focus is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. People often confuse being busy with being focused. Busy people fill their days with activity. Focused people fill their days with progress. Busyness feels productive, but it often hides avoidance. Focus is quieter. It's not about how much you do, it's about how much of what you do actually counts. Look at your day and ask yourself, what part of this moves me toward my vision? Then do more of that. When your goal feels out of reach, it's easy to doubt yourself. The distance between where you are and where you want to be can feel overwhelming. Focus helps you close that gap. Instead of thinking about the entire journey, direct your attention to the next step. You don't climb a mountain by staring at the peak. You climb it by focusing on one step at a time. Every small focus creates movement, and movement builds momentum. Distractions aren't only external, they're internal too. Your own thoughts can pull you away from your goal. You might overthink, worry, or replay mistakes. Training your focus means learning to manage your mind. When negative thoughts appear, don't feed them. Shift your attention to action. You can't control every thought that shows up, but you can control which ones you invest in. The more you practice this, the calmer your mind becomes. To strengthen your focus, give yourself specific time blocks for your goals. During those times, remove every possible interruption. Work like nothing else exists. Afterward, take breaks to recharge. The brain works best in rhythms of focus and rest. Balance intensity with recovery. Too much focus without rest leads to burnout. Too much rest without focus leads to regret. Find your rhythm and honor it. It's also important to track your focus. Notice what helps it and what hurts it. Maybe you work better in the morning. Maybe certain people or habits drain your mental energy. Be honest about those patterns. Once you know them, adjust. Growth isn't about perfection. It's about awareness and improvement. The better you understand yourself, the easier it becomes to protect your attention. Focus isn't just about doing, it's about being present. When you're fully in the moment, you perform better, think clearer, and connect deeper with what you're doing. Distraction makes you restless. Presence makes you powerful. When your attention is here, not in the past or future, you give your best effort naturally. That's why mindfulness is not just a trend. It's a training ground for focus. When you aim for something that feels out of reach, your focus will be tested by doubt and delay. You'll face days where progress feels invisible. That's when focus matters most. Stay faithful to your effort. Keep showing up. When nothing seems to move, remember that persistence builds unseen momentum. Most people quit during the quiet phase, the time when results are forming beneath the surface. Stay focused long enough, and eventually you'll break through. Training your focus also means choosing what to ignore. You can't give attention to everything and expect to grow. Ignore gossip, ignore fear, ignore distractions that lead nowhere. Every minute spent reacting to negativity is a minute stolen from creation. Protect your focus from people who pull you backward. Surround yourself with those who respect your priorities. Your focus thrives in a supportive environment. To keep your focus strong, visualize your goal daily. Picture it vividly. Feel it. The brain doesn't distinguish much between imagination and reality. When you repeatedly focus on your goal, you train your mind to recognize opportunities that align with it. You begin to see connections others miss. This isn't magic, it's mental conditioning. Your focus shapes your perception, and your perception shapes your path. There will be days when focus feels impossible. That's normal. The human mind wasn't built to be perfect, it was built to adapt. On those days, don't chase perfection. Chase progress. Even a few focused minutes count. Over time, those minutes compound into hours, and those hours shape your results. Focus grows quietly, not dramatically. Trust that every bit of attention you give is moving you forward. As your focus sharpens, you'll notice how your world changes. You'll stop rushing. You'll start seeing the value in deep work. You'll feel calmer because you're no longer scattered. The noise will still exist, but it won't control you. You'll learn how to move through it with direction. People will wonder how you stay disciplined. But you'll know it's not discipline. It's alignment. When you care deeply about your goal, focus becomes natural. Over time, focus becomes part of your identity. You stop identifying as someone who's easily distracted, and start seeing yourself as someone who finishes what they start. That shift in self-image is powerful. You act in alignment with how you see yourself. If you believe you're focused, you'll behave accordingly. That's how you transform not just your habits, but your identity. When your attention is trained, you start doing less but achieving more. You stop chasing everything and start choosing deliberately. You learn that saying no is not loss, it's clarity. Focus helps you build depth instead of spreading yourself thin. And depth is where mastery lives. If you want to reach something that feels far away, go deep, not wide. Give your full attention to the few things that truly matter. Eventually you'll look back and realize how far your focus carried you. What once felt impossible will feel normal. The goal that seemed out of reach will become part of your story. You'll see how every hour of focused effort added up. How every distraction you resisted paid off. How every moment of attention shaped your future. That's the reward of trained focus. It turns dreams into plans and plans into achievement. So train your focus like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and where your energy flows, your results grow. The distance between you and what you want isn't luck or talent. It's focus. Stay locked on your goal long enough, and eventually what once felt out of reach will be within your hand.
Chapter 4. Use discomfort as proof that you are expanding. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is the quiet signal that you're growing. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has walked through discomfort. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. The difference between those who grow and those who stay the same is simple. One learns to see discomfort as proof of progress. The other sees it as a reason to stop. If you're feeling uncomfortable right now, it's not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that you're expanding into a stronger version of yourself. Most people run from discomfort because it feels unfamiliar. The human brain is wired to protect you from pain, to avoid risk, and to keep you safe. But growth lives in the very space your mind tells you to avoid. Discomfort is not there to punish you. It's there to prepare you. Every time you step beyond what's easy, your limits start to shift. What once felt impossible becomes normal. What once scared you becomes manageable. You become capable of more because you allowed yourself to experience the stretch. When you start a new habit, make a big decision, or chase a bigger dream, discomfort will show up first. You'll feel it in your body, in your thoughts, in your emotions. It might feel like tension in your chest, or doubt whispering in your mind. You might question if you're on the right path. That's natural. The discomfort is a sign that you've left the safety of routine. You're entering the unknown, and the unknown is where growth happens. Discomfort teaches you what comfort hides. When life is easy, you don't have to face yourself. You can stay distracted, avoid challenge, and pretend everything's fine. But when discomfort hits, it exposes your patterns, your fears, and your habits. It shows you where you still have work to do. That awareness is powerful because it gives you a chance to change. You can't transform what you don't understand. Discomfort forces you to pay attention, and paying attention is the first step toward progress. Think about the times you've grown the most. Maybe it was when you took on a job you weren't ready for, when you moved to a new city, or when